Hi guys, welcome to Urban Treats, where we show you easy recipes you can make at home. Today we are making old-fashioned salmon patties, and we're going to see what is better, fresh salmon or canned salmon. So, as always, the ingredients are in the description. Let's get started. All right, the first thing we have to do is prepare our vegetables. And I got some fresh bell peppers, some onion, and some garlic from my garden. And we're gonna just chop this up and put it in the pan. Just take out the seeds, because seeds make it bitter. So make sure you get all the seeds out of your bell peppers. One of these sweet peppers. Half a yellow onion, half a red onion. I always like to add red onions because they taste much sweeter than other onions. And here's a little trick. If you don't take off the back end of your onion, it stays together and it's much easier to chop it into little cubes. And then at the end, just cut it off and get rid of it. Get the pan to medium heat, and in my induction that's about 4 or 5, but of course it depends on everybody's hob. We'll add a tablespoon of olive oil, and then we'll just add everything in here, and we saute it until it's translucent and lightly browned. Now, while I'm sauteing the onions and the peppers, I'm going to pop the fresh salmon into the oven. Just need a little bit of foil. Add the salmon fillet. We're going to salt it a little, not too much. Add a bit of pepper. And we'll let this cook in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes until the salmon is cooked, and then we'll get it out. Last but not least, and just before everything is cooked, I'm adding in my garlic. And I'm going to add 3 garlic cloves. The vegetables are ready, well, the onion and the pepper. And we have to let them cool down a bit, so I'll pop them in this mixing bowl, which I will use for the next step. Now, because we are running a test today, I'm going to split the mixture into 2. So we can try one with fresh salmon, and we can try the other one with canned salmon. So for now, I will just let this cool down, and while it cools, let's prepare the next part. We will need an egg, and we'll just whip this up a little bit. We'll add a little bit more salt and pepper, and I go easy on the salt and pepper because you can always add salt at the end, but it's not so easy to get rid of it. So just a little bit, whisk it in. And I also have here 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, which I'm gonna add in here too. There you go. And we'll whisk that in too. And last but not least, we're adding in a secret ingredient, and that's a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. And that is enough. Okay, and we'll mix this in a minute. We'll let it cool down a little bit because we don't want the egg to actually cook when I add them into the hot veggies. And let's check on the salmon, see if it's ready. The salmon is ready and it looks delicious. What we have to do next is just break it up into smaller bits. I'll just put this in a plate here and let it cool a bit. The veggies have cooled down, the salmon is almost cool, so we can go to the next step and we can combine the veggies with the egg. Now, you'll need a fork and just whip this up a little more. Add the mixture into your vegetables. Mix it up a little. And now we'll have to split the mixture in two just so we can make our test. And I'll just add half of it in here. And I'll leave the other half here. Okay. And now we'll add the fresh salmon on this side. And we'll add the canned salmon on this side. Now, we're gonna add a little less of the canned salmon. I think 2 cans turned out more than the 2 fillets. Now, the canned salmon is a bit harder, so we have to break it up a little bit with a fork. Half a cup of breadcrumbs. So we'll just add half in here and half in here. And the breadcrumbs will bring it all together and give it a nice texture. That's it. And the fresh salmon. Oops. Ready. Now, let's fry them up. You don't need to clean the pan from the previous steps because it's just going to add additional flavor. So we'll add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil and we'll also add a couple of tablespoons of butter, which is gonna totally enrich the flavor. The moment of truth has arrived. Which is the better salmon patty, canned salmon or fresh salmon? Now, before we go to the taste test, if you've liked this video, make sure you press that like button. And if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you want to see any specific recipe on this channel, make sure you leave it in the comments. Now, let's go for the taste test. Now, this one is the canned one, and this one is the fresh one. And I'm gonna start off with canned. Here we go, ready? Okay, the flavor is great. It's moist, it's nice and crispy on the outside. I really like the flavor of this. I'm not gonna lie, it's canned, but I really like it. Let's see if the fresh holds up. Here we go. Fresh is also great, but if I'm honest, I think canned actually tastes better. Wow, let me try again. No, fresh. Great, I mean, nothing wrong with it. Tastes delicious, but let's go with canned again. One more. Oh. Wow. Now that's a surprise, guys. Actually, canned is better. I mean, it's exactly the same recipe. The only thing that's changed is the salmon. We have canned and fresh, and the only assumption I have is that the salmon is maybe kept in oil in the can, so maybe it absorbs that, which makes it more moist, or I don't know, but wow, that's a surprise. Now, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I'll see you next week.